Ooh, these look really similar. Ooh, this size is more my jam. Hey everyone, it's your girl Lady Vintage Bags here. Now, have you guys seen the hot new release Louis Vuitton bags that are remakes or re-editions of the vintage bags? So there's the Saumur BB. This is a hot re-edition of the vintage Saumur bags. And now this bag is my vibe. And there is the MicroChantilly. Now the Saumur BB is going for $2,030 US, and then there's the MicroChantilly, and this is the remake of the vintage Chantilly bags. Now this one is going for $1,670 US. Now that might sound okay by current Louis Vuitton pricing standards, but if you think about it, if you look at the size of the bag, that is a lot of dollars for a little bit of bag. But no fear, ladies, I've got the cheaper original vintage Louis Vuitton alternatives for you, and this video is for my bigger bag queens, my ladies who love bags that can fit more things, more practical in size. This video is going to be right up your alley. Now guys, you know I love details. You know I love to give you lots of details in these handbag comparison videos. So for each bag, I'm going to show you the vintage alternative. We're going to compare prices so you can see how much you can save. We're going to compare mod shots so you can see what they look like on the body. Then we'll compare pictures of the bag side by side, and we'll look at the dimensions of the bag. And then I'll show you all the different re-editions and sizes available of the vintage alternatives. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So starting with the Saumur BB versus the vintage Saumur. So the Saumur BB is priced at $2,030 US, whereas the vintage ones you can still find in the pre-love market for under $600. So that's a savings of over $1,400 or 70% off. So that's a really good savings. Okay, so let's look at mod shots. Now, Jennifer just unboxed the Saumur BB on her channel, and her one was really nice and cute, and she put up mod shots in her videos as well, which is what I'm showing you here today. She looks great with her bag, and I'll actually link her video in the description box below so you can go check her out. I've watched her for years and she has a really great collection with a mix of newer and vintage styles, so please go check her out. So there is a clear size difference between the new BB version and the older Saumur 30 version. I mean, number one, it's Saumur 30, size 30 centimeters, and this one's only about 20 centimeters, so clearly there's going to be a difference. But if you think about it, many years ago, a size 30 bag wasn't even really that big. It was like a normal size bag. It's only because we're living in the age of mini bag trend that it sounds huge. But really, guys, it's not. It's just a normal practical size bag. Okay, so let's compare pictures of the bag side by side. So this is what it looks like from the front. So the BB does come with two straps. You get a top handle and a crossbody strap, both of which are detachable, and the crossbody strap is also adjustable. Whereas the vintage bag only has an adjustable crossbody strap, which is not detachable, but you do get a shoulder pad to make it a bit more comfortable. Now let's take a close-up of the buckle on both bags. So the BB looks like it has a buckle clasp, but it's actually a faux buckle. It's actually a magnet. Now this is a welcomed upgrade. Personally, guys, I'm not into buckle bags. And if you've seen my vintage Louis Vuitton collection, which I've made a video about it, which I'll link up here in the description box down below, you'll see that all of my vintage Louis Vuitton bags, none of them have a buckle. I'm really just not a buckle kind of girl. I ain't got no time to be going in and out of buckles, and I probably couldn't even do it with one hand. I'd probably need two hands, which I'm just not into that. I'm into just quick, easy, low maintenance, functional. Now, if you look closely on the Saumur BB, you can also see the Louis Vuitton symbol has been etched into the leather, whereas on the vintage styles, it's plain. There's no etching of the symbol at all into the leather. Now, if we look at the bags from the side, you can see they have a very similar side profile. Both of them looks like two compartments held together with a buckle. However, this is only the case for the vintage version. The vintage version is actually a front and back compartments, two separate compartments which are held together by a buckle. Whereas the Saumur BB is actually only one compartment, and they just shape the canvas to keep the look of the two compartments. So it's like a faux two compartment look. And on the BB version, you can also see there is a D-ring there for the detachable straps, whereas there's no D-ring on the vintage version. Let's take a look at the bags from the back. The BB version does have a back pocket, whereas the vintage version, the back is its own entire compartment with its own flap and own buckle, which looks identical to the front. And if we look at the interiors, the new BB version does have that Alcantara micro suede lining, whereas the vintage version has that old school fabric canvas lining that you find on a lot of the old bags. Now let's compare the dimensions. Now I've got the dimensions on the screen here, but overall, to summarize, the Saumur 30 is bigger. The BB size is approximately 2/3 the size of the vintage 30 Saumur in terms of the length and the height. Like if we just look at the centimeters, the BB is a 20 centimeter along the length, whereas the vintage one is a 30 centimeter along the length. And guys, the Saumur 30 is not the only vintage size that's available. I found lots of really great information on the 12 Luxury Vintage website, which I'll link in the description box down below, where I learnt a lot about the life cycle of the Saumur bag. So the Saumur bag, the vintage one that I'm showing you, this was born sometime around in the 1980s and potentially named after a village called Saumur in France, because we know Louis Vuitton, they love to name their bags after places. That's the running theme in Louis Vuitton names. And guys, if you look at the side profile of the Saumur bag, imagine if you unbuckled and separated the two sides. It looks like a horse saddle. Okay, so the older style comes in 3 different sizes. So you've got the Saumur 30, Saumur 35, and Saumur 43. And just like the speedy styles, those numbers denote the centimeters of the length of the bag. So the Saumur 30 is 30 centimeters, Saumur 35 is 35 centimeters, and again, the 43 is 43 centimeters. Now they all look pretty much the same. However, with the 43, you can see there's actually 2 buckles on the flap rather than 1. And I think because the flap was just so huge, you really needed a second buckle just to really hold it down flat. So this bag was made in monogram, but there were also some special order ones in the damier band and damier azur, and it was also made in the mini lin fabric. Now, in 2012, they re-released this bag in the perforated style. Now, this is not really my cup of tea, but if you're someone who loves those unique bags, those different bags, check out the perforated collection, because that might be right up your alley. And if you love a little pop color in the interior, check out this aqua lining. That's definitely very different. And in 2017, they actually re-released the Saumur again. And this is like a new model Saumur, and they renamed the size 30 as the MM. They renamed the size 35 as the GM, and unfortunately the 43 didn't make it past the chopping block. That didn't get included in the relaunch. So this 2017 style also did have some upgrades. So if you look closely where the buckle is, it has Louis Vuitton etched into the leather, just like the new Saumur BB. So if you're someone who's interested in the Saumur style, but you want the bigger one, but you don't want to go full granny vintage, then have a look at these 2017 ones on the pre-loved market, because that could be right up your alley. Okay guys, so cast your votes down below. Are you team Saumur BB or are you team vintage Saumur? Now I know I'm a vintage girl through and through, but I think for me, this time I'm going to go with the Saumur BB. Like number one, I'm just not a buckle girl. It's just, a buckle is like a deal breaker for me. And the Saumur BB is actually really cute. And when I saw just Jennifer's unboxing of it and her mod shots and what she could get in there, and just by looking at the size of it, it's not too small. I can still fit my essentials in there. So this time I'm going to go with the new version. Okay guys, now if you're loving this theme of cheaper vintage alternatives to Louis Vuitton's hottest bags, I have done a ton of these videos. I've made alternatives to really classic bags like the Speedy, the Neverfull, the Pochette Métis, and even hot new releases. So like these bags, I've also done the On The Go East West, the new Speedy B20, also done the Teal set, and many more. So I'll link those videos in the description box down below if you want to check those alternatives out. Okay, so let's move on to the MicroChantilly versus the Vintage Chantilly PM. So the MicroChantilly is priced at $1,670 for that little bag, and the Vintage PM you can still find for under $600 on the pre-loved market. So that's a savings of over $1,000 or nearly 65% off. That's a pretty good savings. Okay, so let's check out some mod shots. Okay, so the vintage one is clearly overall a bigger bag, especially since the new version is a little micro bag, whereas the vintage one is a PM. So it's like a size jump of like 2 size categories. If you count the BB size to be the next size up before you reach the PM size. So if you're interested in the Chantilly style, but you're not a micro bag girl, check out the vintage PM, because that could just be the right size for you. Okay, so let's take a look at the pictures of the bag side by side. So this is what they look like from the front. So you can see they both have the same basic shape, but the PM is overall bigger. So the MicroChantilly does have a detachable and adjustable crossbody strap, whereas the vintage one is only adjustable, so not detachable. If we look at the clasp on the bags, so again, just like the Saumur, the MicroChantilly has a faux buckle. It's actually a magnet, which is a welcomed upgrade. Like guys, I'm just not a buckle kind of girl. It's just not me. Ain't nobody got time for being in and out of buckles. Let's take a look at them from the side. So the vintage Chantilly does have this big piece of vachetta which goes along the whole side of the bag, wraps around the bottom and back up the other side, whereas the Micro Chantilly does not. So for those of you who don't like too much vachetta, then the Micro Chantilly would be more up your alley. If we take a look at them from the back, so there's no back pocket on the vintage one, and there's no back pocket on the new version either. And if we look at the interior, so the vintage Chantilly does have leather lined interior, whereas the new one has an Alcantara lining. So let's take a look at the dimensions of the bag. So I've got the dimensions up on the screen for you, but just to summarize, we can see the Chantilly PM is overall bigger compared to the Micro Chantilly. So the Micro Chantilly is very, very small. It's only 12 centimeters. But the PM is not even that big itself. It is only about 19 centimeters. So it's not like the Chantilly Vintage is like a giant bag. It's still pretty small. Even by today's mini bag standards, it's still a standard small bag. So you don't really need to go all the way to a micro if you're interested in the Chantilly style. So let's take a look at all the different versions of the Chantilly available. So again, guys, I learned a lot about the life cycle of the Chantilly bag from that same website I mentioned before, so Etoile Luxury Vintage. So this style was originally born sometime in the 1980s and potentially named after a place called Chantilly in Paris. So again, Louis Vuitton loves to name their bags after places. So they made it in 3 sizes, a PM, an MM, and a GM. And these sizes, they're not even that big. So like the PM's only 19 centimeters, the MM's only about 22 centimeters, and the GM's only about 24 centimeters. So guys, it's just pretty standard size bags, not huge or anything. Now in 2012, Louis Vuitton relaunched it in the perforated collection. So same as the Saumur, came out in a perforated collection. Again, I'm not a perforated kind of girl, but if you're looking for something that's a little bit more unique, check that out. That could be right up your alley. Then in 2018, Nicolas Ghesquière re-released it in this really nice, classy redesign. So he called it the Chantilly lock. He included treated leather, which you get in black or white, and it's got this beautiful padlock as the clasp, and it has accents of both normal monogram and reverse monogram. Guys, this is a really nicely designed bag. I really like this Chantilly lock. So guys, cast your votes down below. Are you a Micro Chantilly girl or are you a vintage Chantilly girl? So in this particular case, I'm gonna have to go with the vintage one. So even though I'm not a buckle girl and it is a deal breaker, that micro size is also a deal breaker for me. A bigger deal breaker than the buckle. I'd rather have a buckle that I just don't use, but I can still fit my things in the bag because I need the bag to be able to carry my essentials. If it's too small and I'm just using it as like a card holder with a strap, that's not for me. I'd rather just have a bigger bag and I'm just not using the buckle that I hate. But tell me guys, is this a bag you're just going to sit out completely, or are you going to make a purchase? And if you are going to make a purchase, are you going to go vintage or are you going to go brand new? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your decisions in the description box down below.